Hello dear students, welcome to the online education of class 7 science. So dear students, in the previous class I discussed about various concepts about air expands on heating with an activity of tying two paper cups to one stick and giving a candle flame heat, so thereby the hot air rises up and its pressure is reduced, so hence becomes lighter than cold air. So this shows that always warm air is lighter than cold air. So dear students, in the today's class let us discuss about the wind currents which are generated due to the uneven heating on the earth. Okay, so to know this very in detail, so we must study situations, in which situation how the wind currents are generated due to the uneven heating on two areas on the earth. Okay, so those are uneven heating between the poles and the equator. So for that, so dear students, already you might be knowing, so in the geography you might have learned the different regions of the earth. Those are Arctic region, Antarctic region, equator, Tropic of Capricorn, Tropic of Cancer, North Pole, South Pole. All these things you have studied already. So in the geography, you found that the regions which are close to the equator, the regions which are found very close to the equator, they get maximum heat from the sun because they directly get the heat from the sun. So hence the air or the whatever the air present in these regions usually gets warm easily because it directly receives the heat from the sun, maximum heat from the sun. So hence the air in these regions gets more warm. Okay, so whereas the warm air rises when it gets more heat, no, it starts rising very easily or quickly. So this warm air starts rising, and the colder air from the surroundings, okay, whatever the colder air which is present in the surroundings, so what happens here, it starts moving towards the 0 to 30 degree latitudes belt on either side of this equator. Okay, so whatever the cold air is present on the either side of the 0 to 30 degrees latitude starts belt, that starts moving on either side of the equator. It starts the cold air from these two either sides of the equator, so it starts moving towards the equator. Okay, means 0 degree latitude is there on the north, 0 to 30 degrees Arctic region is there, 0 to 30 degree south is there. So that 0 to 30 degree latitude belt, whatever the cold air is present, that starts moving towards the equator. So hence these winds blow from the north and the south towards the equator. It means these winds, they start moving or starts blowing from the north as well as North Pole as well as South Pole up towards the equator. So towards the equator, hot air is rising up. So hence the cold air from North Pole and South Pole starts moving towards the equator. So at the pole, what happens now? The air is colder than at the latitudes of about 60 degrees. Okay, so hence the warm air at these latitudes rises up. The warm air at these latitudes, 60 degree latitudes, rises up, and the cold air from the surroundings, from the surrounding polar regions, it starts rushing towards it and takes its place. So what happens here? Once again, you remember here at the latitude about 60 degrees. Okay, so latitude of 60 degree at this region, what happens here? The warmest air starts rising up at these latitudes. So hence what happens here? The cold air from the polar regions, South Pole and North Pole, the cold air from the polar regions starts moving towards the center, 60 degree latitude to take its place. Hence, in this way, wind currents are generated. Wind circulation is going to set up from the poles towards the equator, warmer aquatic regions, warmer latitude regions, or latitude region is nothing but equators. So it is shown in the figure 8.8. You can look at it here. So how the wind currents are produced. So that this is 0 degree latitude, suppose. So here on the North Pole, 60 to 60 degree equator is there. Here latitude is here 0 to 30 degree. South Pole latitude is there here. So this 0 to 30 degree north latitude and 0 to 30 degree south latitude, together the cold air from these two latitudes of the polar region start moving towards the equator. So hence the circulation of the air is set up from the poles towards the equator or the latitudes. So the wind flow pattern, because of the uneven heating on the earth. So here you can look at it here. So wind flow from this sea, 60 degree north towards the equator, 60 degrees south towards the equator. So later on, from the poles towards the equator, from equator to 60 degree latitudes towards the poles, like that the wind currents are going to set up. So I hope, dear students, you might have understood this concept. Let me continue with the next concept in tomorrow's class. Thank you and have a nice day.